let's talk about my spooky season TBR. All right, hello everybody. We are here to talk about my spooky season TBR, and along with that, I will be doing the seasonal spooky challenge by Covers with Cassidy. Very excited about this. I wanted to join in on her romantasy challenge, but I was kind of feeling a little bit of romantasy burnout, so I did not join in on that one. However, I could not pass up a spooky season challenge. And we're going to talk through all the books that I'm going to be reading for that. And then we're going to talk about the other books that are on my spooky season TBR. These are going to be books that I want to focus on between September and November. These are the ones on my radar. Of course, we're still going to be doing the Reader Toss Challenge, those vlogs and everything. And you guys have seen my dark fantasy video where I talk about the books that I want to read towards the end of the year for dark fantasy. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to tackle all of these books, but I do like to give myself options whenever I create a TBR, because if I create a very strict TBR, my brain says, nope, don't want to. Also, spoiler alert for what I'm currently reading. I've started a funny story. I'm also reading the arc I have for the third Kagan of the Damned trilogy, Dragon in Winter, I believe that's what it's called. But that's not important to this video. What is important is what I'll be reading for the seasonal spooky challenge. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the rules because you can go to Cassidy's video. I will link it down below and see all of these rules in depth and everything like that. But we have read one book for each setting, and the settings are listed. Then we have the unlocking prompts. Now, every book that you pick for here has to go with one of these prompts. In addition to that, there are cover prompts. So you can have these, fill these, or not. Either way, you want to get these filled in for the cover prompts, and then there's bonus challenges. Now, I have picked a book to fulfill every single one of these. Have I picked that many books? No. I had a lot of crossover and a lot of ways to make things work with each other. I will post my completed graphic at the end of this so you guys can see exactly how I made everything fit, but I wrote everything down so that I would remember what goes to what. Okay, so starting off with our first setting, we have urban. Now, I don't read a ton of urban stories. I'm a fantasy reader. I prefer fantasy that has a little bit of horror tied into it, or haunted house type stories. So picking an urban book was a little bit of a stretch for me. However, I've heard The Eyes Are the Best Part is actually really good and it's strange, but very creepy. It's really easy to get sucked into this story. And so I want to go ahead and try it myself. Now, for urban, this also, for The Eyes Are the Best Part, we covered urban. It also is a new release. We have Eyeball on the cover, and then Cannibals for the bonus challenge. So that book covered a lot of space for me in this whole board that we've got going on. The second book, we had to pick one for a summer camp. And let me tell you, summer camp is not my shtick. One, summer camp usually means YA. And I don't really have an interest in YA horror. So Cassidy had said that she will be reading Heads Will Roll, and I need to pick a book on someone else's TBR. This also has blood on the cover. So I was like, okay, let's go with that. I know nothing about this book other than Cassidy put it on her TBR, so I put it on my TBR so that I could steal it from her. Okay, for Isolated, I chose Things Have Gotten Worse Since Last We Spoke by Eric LaRocca, and this is not the first time I've read Eric LaRocca before, so I'm very excited to be reading him again. The settings in here are isolated, but I don't know, they're like kind of mixed media-esque, like there's mixed media in there, but this is not the book I actually chose for the mixed media prompt because I don't feel like it is the entirety of the book. So I think it's just one story. However, Eric LaRocca does do diverse representation in his books, usually some type of disability rep or LGBTQ plus rep. And so I went ahead and added this because I knew I was going to find that in here anyway. Okay, and then the next setting is small town. And luckily I get to pull one of the books from my self-destructing books for this, The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. Now, this one fulfills the YA prompt, the hands prompt on the cover, vampires. So this one hits a lot of boxes. That's why I picked it, because I knew it was going to tick a lot of boxes on this challenge. And I guess I'm kind of excited for it. This is kind of my last chance with Holly Black because all of her books read the same. This one has a little bit different synopsis than her usual books, so we'll see. We'll see. I will probably enjoy it regardless. I've enjoyed every Holly Black I've read. It's just that all of her books read the same. Now for a southern setting, I chose The Spite House, and that fulfills a book you didn't buy because I'm going to be borrowing this one from the library, and Ghosts. Now, if I remember correctly, I believe this is about a guy who is an author of the horrific, and he joins a few other authors of the macabre, the horrific. They go to this house only to find out that something there, like they're supposed to be writing about this house for like a PR stunt, but there is actually something in this house. So I'm very excited to get into that. For Haunted House, yes, I know, I have two back-to-back that are haunted houses. I chose Kill Creek by Scott Thomas because this has been on my TBR for forever. I've owned the audiobook for forever. And so this is going to be a new to me author. Also, I had to kind of shift some of the books to fulfill the prompts. So even though this is an audiobook, it's not the one I chose for audiobook. And yes, I have the physical copy of the one I chose for audiobook. I needed to fit the prompts. So I will be doing the one on audio that I chose for audio. Kill Creek, I don't remember what this one was about. I just know that I purchased it a long time ago. It sounded really good. And that's what I'm reading for my haunted house. New author. And for Coastal, I chose The Retreat by Sarah Pierce. Now you guys will probably realize that this is the second book in a series and why I couldn't put this as the new author that I'm choosing, and but needed the audiobook fulfilled anyway. So this is about a girl who, well, the first book is about a girl who is a detective and she goes to the sanatorium and she's going to get some respite. It's a sanatorium that's been turned into a hotel. She's going to get some respite from her job because her job has said she's starting to act mentally unstable. And so this is the second book in this series following the same detective. But the first book was very gothic and very gothic mystery, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, but I was very excited to pick up the second book and see where the story goes from there. But yeah, definitely Coastal. So this fulfills that, and water on the cover because, you know, we are on the coast. Oh, and I think I forgot to mention that the Spite House is also Ghosts. There's that one as well. So then In the Woods, I chose Your Blood and Bones because it is a novella that has an animal on the cover and features cults. So I have heard a lot of people talk about this, and all the people that I've seen read this have really enjoyed it. However, I know nothing about it, but my friend Izzy is the one that actually recommended it for this prompt. And so I feel like I will really enjoy it. And we have very similar reading tastes, so very interested in that. Now, if you guys are keeping track, you will realize that I have some cover prompts that I still need to fulfill. So with Window, another audiobook that I've had for a really long time that I don't remember the synopsis for would be episode 13. Now, all of my horror friends have really enjoyed this story, and it has a fairly low rating on Goodreads, but with horror, that's to be expected. I don't ever expect anything to be above a 4-star there. But I've been wanting to read this for a really long time, and so I will be excited to get to it. And then for Weapon on the Cover, Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle. I'm very excited for this one. I know very little about this, but I've been wanting to read Chuck Tingle for a while, and I did want to put Camp Damascus on this. However, this, like, Bury Your Gaze does sound very interesting. I know it's very set in Hollywood, and I believe a screenwriter is told to kill off a gay character in the show he's writing, and things go from there. So I'm just very interested to see how that plays out. And I've heard Chuck Tingle is an excellent writer. And then for tech, I had to go with a thriller, so I chose Rubicon because I couldn't find a sci-fi horror that I haven't read. So we had problems there. But I've been very interested to get into this. J.S. Dews wrote the first watch, and I enjoyed that one. but I've heard that this one's even better. So it's a standalone sci-fi thriller. I'm very excited to get into it, and I like JS2's writing. So the only bonus prompt I have yet to fulfill, if you've been paying attention, would be mixed media, because I don't want to count the one story in the Eric LaRocca as mixed media when the rest of the stories are not. So I chose night film. Oh, I forgot the sticker was still on there. I've heard mixed things about this. However, it is very much mixed media, almost in the vein of Illuminae. So I'm very, very excited to probably listen to it on audio while I follow along. That's the way I prefer to read most of my books, but most especially the ones with mixed media in them. And this is a murder mystery. On a damp October night, beautiful young Ashley Cordova is found dead in an abandoned warehouse in Lower Manhattan. Though her death is ruled a suicide, veteran investigative journalist Scott McGrath suspects otherwise. As he probes the strange circumstances around Ashley's life and death, McGrath comes face to face with the legacy of her father, the legendary reclusive cult horror film director Stanislas Cordova, a man who hasn't been in the public for more than 30 years. So it sounds like it's going to dissect both of their careers, both of their lives, and kind of bring some of the horrors of Hollywood to the front, and I think it sounds really good. It also leans a lot on the literary side from what I hear, so there's a chance that I may really like it, there's a chance that I might not. That is all of the seasonal spooky challenge prompts that I have to go over. However, I did want to talk about a few books that are on my spooky season TBR for the end of the year, things that I really want to get to, mysteries, horror, things like that. If you guys have seen online, Vivian Shaw has her 4th book in this series coming out. I've read the first, so I'd like to get to the 2nd and 3rd, and Strange Practice is the first of these. This Dreadful Company is number 2, Grave Importance is number 3, and it's the Greta Van Helsing series. These books are funny, but they are like very Victorian, and they have all of these central figures from Gothic literature, Dracula being one of them, but I thought they were very fun to follow. And Greta Van Helsing, if I remember correctly, is Van Helsing's granddaughter. So it's a few years removed from the story of Dracula. But anyway, I really want to get to these and finish up the series and then get to the 4th book. And the novella. There is a novella that released too. So a series that I want to catch up on is this series by Lana Harper. Back in a Spell is the 3rd book in the series, and I think that these are so good. They're very cute. They're very fast-paced. The romances are adorable, and they're witchy. Witchy will always get me. Oh, it matches like funny story over here. Interesting. We have to add Grady Hendrix to the list, don't we? It's not a spooky season TBR without a Grady Hendrix, is it? Horror Store. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to get to this one. It's set in IKEA. It's a horror story set in IKEA. I might or might not like this. I've heard mixed things, especially with it being so short, but imagine getting stuck in IKEA. You wouldn't want the book to be incredibly long. So I feel like it's going to serve its purpose. One that I meant to read either last month or this month, I'm not really sure. I think it was last month. In the Garden of Spite by Camilla Bruce. Also, there's a new release from Camilla Bruce that I have been eyeballing. I've seen it around and I want to read it. This is about the first female serial killer in America, and I'm down. I do have Feminine Rage on my Patreon bingo board, so this would fit that. Then a mystery that I've had for a little bit would be A Stranger in the House by Sherry Lapina. Again, a book that I've heard I will enjoy. I hold on to my mysteries. So if I don't read them this year, then I hold on to them for the next year. And this is kind of where this has fallen into. I picked it up last year, didn't get around to it. So now it's on my TBR for this year. One that I've heard a massive amount of praise for is Never Saw Me Coming by Vera Curlin. And let me see if I remember. Oh yes, You Should Never Trust a Psychopath, but what if you had no choice? It would be easy to underestimate Chloe Sever. She's a freshman honor student, a legging-wearing hot girl next door who also happens to be a psychopath. She spends her time on yoga lattes, frat parties, and plotting to kill Will Bachman, a childhood friend who grievously wronged her. Never Saw Me Coming is a compulsive, voice-driven thriller by an exciting new talent in fiction that will keep you pinned to the page and rooting for a would-be killer. And that's what got me excited, rooting for the villain. Another holdover from last year would be A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. All I remember is hearing praise for this and picking it up. Again, we have someone named Chloe. It says, a masterfully done lyrical thriller certain to be the launch of an amazing career, eerily compelling to the very last page. When Chloe was 12, 6 teenage girls went missing in her small Louisiana town. By the end of summer, her own father had confessed to the crimes and was put away for life, leaving Chloe and the rest of her family to grapple with the truth and move forward while dealing with the aftermath. 20 years later, Chloe is a psychologist in Baton Rouge getting ready for her wedding. While she finally has a fragile grasp on the happiness she's worked so hard to achieve, she sometimes feels out of control with her own life as the troubled teens, who are also her patients, go missing. Then another that terrifying summer comes crashing down. Anyway, she starts seeing parallels to what happened in her past, yet her father, who has been charged with these crimes, is behind bars. So is this a copycat, or is this the person who actually did it? So I'm very interested. And then another holdover. We begin at the end. This actually, I was supposed to have joined in the Bookish Drummer Discord. They were doing a read-along of this, and I fully intended to read along with them, and then I didn't because I suck at buddy reads. But I think that I really want to get into this. There are two kinds of families, the ones who you're born into and the ones we create. I don't remember what this is about. Again, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm like this. But this is a beautifully written mystery packed with unforgettable characters, an intricately woven portrait of small town intrigue where old and new sins collide. So this is another character-driven mystery that I want to pick up, but mysteries move. So I'm kind of intrigued by the fact like there's a mystery that has character-driven at the heart of it. Anyway, I've been wanting to read this. I'm excited to pick it up. Hopefully I will this year. Now I have a few more mysteries that I've picked up this year and you know, there's a good chance I will pick them up. There's a chance that I might not, but if I do, I do. These are just the priorities that I have on my list currently. And again, it could change because I have been buying books left and right. I know there's one that didn't make it on here because I don't know where I put it, and that's the hollow kind. So yeah. I'm very, very excited for spooky season to be here. I'm very excited for fall weather. Also, if you're wondering why we are in a very weird spot in my library, it is because I got this new shelf. And when I got this new shelf, you know, I thought to myself, extra TBR cart. But then I made it my priority TBR cart. So again, you might be seeing a little bit of spoilers for what is to come. However, these are series that I need to continue on with, some of them, and not just what's up next on my TBR. But that's it for me today. Don't forget I have a Patreon if you would like to support what I do on this channel, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye.